Hey, this is Kurt Roscoe with Stone Glacier. I'm going to take you through a gear list that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be going on a sheep hunt here in later August. It's up in the Yukon. So it's a 10-day hunt. We're going to be living out of a backpack, so everything we have we're going to take with us. We are going to pack for a 4-season hunt. We could see anything from sunny and 60 to hunting in snow. So knowing those conditions, and then we're going to be packing all of our food, I'll take you through first the apparel and then we'll work around to the gear. So to start on the apparel side, we'll start with the base layers. And I'm going to be using, I prefer, especially on these long hunts, prefer to use Merino as the base layers. So Merino Chinook boxer along with the Chinook Merino long sleeve shirt. Then for my mid layer, for the top, I only have a mid layer just on the top, and that is the Helio Hoody. I like the Helio Hoody. It's kind of an all-around piece, also has the hood, so I don't end up bringing a stocking cap. And then for my primary outer layer, for my pants, are going to be the de Havilland pant, and also those will have the knee pads in them. Insulation layers are going to be our Grumman down, so Grumman down jacket, Grumman down pants. Use this in situations where you're glassing, early mornings before you get going. If we do see some very cold weather, we can either layer under or over with either one of those pieces, so they're very versatile that way. As far as footwear, I'm going to be wearing the Sportiva GTechs. So this is a lightweight 4-season boot. Sportiva designed these for ice climbing. So they have a nice stiff sole, work well in the mountains, still waterproof. And then I'll also be carrying the SQ2 Gaiters. Work out really well, especially in the mornings when you're dealing with a lot more moisture, dew in the grass, help keep your pants and your boots drier. So for colder conditions, for hand protection, I'm going to be carrying the Graupel Gloves as my everyday wear type of glove. If the weather gets poor, it starts raining, snow, anything like that, I'll switch to the Altimeter insulated glove for all the waterproof seam taped. So that finishes the apparel side. So when we move on to the gear side, let's start with the sleep system. In my sleep system for a tent, I'm going to be carrying the Solus one person. And so this fits in the extra small size Stone Glacier compression bag. I do pack the poles separate, and I'll show you when we get to how we pack, how we can put those in there to try to keep that as efficient as possible. For my sleeping bag, I'm going to be carrying the Chilkoot 32-degree quilt, and that's in this extra small as well. And then for a sleeping pad, I use the Thermarest X-Therm. So this is the regular size. And then also, last few years, I've been carrying a pillow. And I think it's worth the 2.8 ounces. So that's the Sea to Summit inflatable pillow, and that's the green that you see wrapped under here. And I guess this would be a good time to go over one of the things I like to do, and you'll see this with my apparel pieces as well. Those that get packed in and that roll up tight, you can use Velcro one wrap to wrap over the top to keep everything compressed, and it just helps manage with keeping the cubic inches as small as you can on that type of gear once it's in your pack. So now we start to talk about what's going to happen, hopefully when we fill a tag. So Stone Glacier, this year we are going to have our own game bags. So I will be carrying 2 game bags to manage all boned out meat. I will also be carrying 1 load cell. And the load cell serves dual purpose. So the first thing is when you get to camp, it's a great way to take all of your food, get it in one spot. You can sling it in a tree if you have to do that. We have to do that some places here in Montana because of wilderness. It's a great way to manage that. But it also work well if you're successful at the end of the hunt for cape, head, any of those types of things to help cape or to help manage that as well. Now on to my food system. My food system is pretty simple. I take 1 meal, freeze-dried or sometimes a ramen type meal that needs boiling water. That'll be for dinner. And then everything else are bars, protein bars, different types of things like that for breakfast and lunch throughout the day. All of this is at 1.8 pounds per day of food as it averages out. And calorically, that's going to be right in the 3,000 to 3,200 range, depending on what I decide to take. For cooking, I use the MSR Pocket Rocket. And then this is an Inferno Sterno, and it's a titanium pot. The nice thing about this is it does have the heat flanges in the bottom to help dissipate the heat, help boil the water a little bit quicker. And then, depending on the length of the hunt, 1 to 2 of the small canisters of fuel. So I find normally I can get 8 to 9 boils out of one of those. So on a hunt like this, I'll probably take 2 just in case. One thing to note on the food is I really try to find foods that can be rehydrated without boiling water. So there are certain types of freeze-dried meals that are very difficult to hydrate and very difficult to eat if you don't have boiling water. And a lot of those have beef fat or beef in them. A lot of the chicken and the rice and the noodle types, those will rehydrate in the event you lose a seal on a canister, your phone or your stove, you have issues with that, you're still gonna have a meal. It'll just be cold. As far as water, I carry 3, sometimes 4 of the 2-liter platypuses, their water bottle option, and then use an inline Sawyer filter. And on the one that goes in my pack, I have, on the backside, I've taped a small piece of carbon tube rod on the backside, and it just keeps it from collapsing on itself when it's in the lid. But the nice thing about this is that you can use 2 of these for dirty water or that you haven't run through your filter, and then you can filter into this one. Just a lot of situations, sometimes you have to pack water to a camp location and you don't have it all filtered all at once. Old glassing pad, might need a new one before the end, but this is just an old Thermarest that I cut up. So then let's move on kind of the pack type system and optics. I carry 3 of the swing out pockets. And the way I color code them, this is a Stone Glacier emergency kit. Then in the blue, I carry, this is my electronics kit. So it's going to have things like my little charging cords. I have 1 portable charger, anchor charger. It's a 10,000 milliamp. And so I find that I can get 3 charges out of that, at least on my iPhone. And then I also have my inReach in here. And normally I take the mini on the inReach, and that'll last the entire hunt normally if I just use it for communication and not for tracking. And then I have 1 kit. This is kind of just the personal kit. So this is everything that you need around camp, all your personal items, hygiene items, and that kind of thing. For optics, for a spotting scope on this hunt, I'm going to be carrying the Swaro ATC. I've been very happy with this spotter. Really low footprint in your pack, lightweight. Still can attach and phone scope off this with the Olin. And then attachment for that is, this is a Leo photo. This is the 255. The head on here is their ARCA and PIC rail compatible head. Great thing about this is I can swap in between binoculars, spotting scope, but then it's actually quite stable to shoot off of. Even in a sitting position, legs will fold out so you can shoot from a prone position as well. So just over 2 pounds is a great piece right there. And then for my Bino kit, I'm going to be using the Sentinel Bino harness. And the way I have this one set up is I do not have ranging binos. These are the Swaro NL Pures. I do have a rangefinder, so I have a rangefinder on the right hand. Since I'm right-handed, this is the Sig Sauer Kilo 8. And then the 2 side accessory pockets. This one works very well to keep your phone in, get photos, all that kind of thing. And then in this bottom pocket, I keep my binocular attachment, so I can go back onto my tripod, my inReach, some snacks normally. And for a pack, I'll be using the Terminus 8700, and I've been using this pack the last couple of years sheep hunting. Very happy with it. Plenty of volume for me, lots of flexibility as that goes, and still a lightweight setup. And then for my rifle, this is based off of a Tikka Action. So it's a 6UM, which is a 6 SAUM improved, and this is chambered and built by Unknown Munitions. They also lightened the receiver for me. Proof barrel, brake on here, NX8, and the MDT folding stock. So it's really nice once you get it on your pack, in the sense that you can keep it at a ride height where you can sit down with your pack on and you never have to take your rifle off. So that's the basis of my gear, and now we're going to show you how to pack it into the pack. So I've separated out the apparel that I will be wearing on that day. So these are the things that I won't be wearing, or insulation layers that you might pull out at different points during the day. So what I like to do, and it kind of depends on which pack you decide to use, are pack the items. First off, pack the items that you're not going to use farther away from your zipper or your access, but also try to then balance keeping the heavier portions closer to your back. I really don't have anything in this case that is very heavy, so it's really not going to matter. So I'm just going to focus on putting the things in that I'm going to need along the trail. So first thing that I'm going to put in is going to be my tent, and a lot of times people will put these in horizontally. I prefer to put these cylinders in vertically. Then it gives you access to the voids in between the cylinders as they stack up, so you get better use of your volume. So I'll set this one in on the bottom left. The next one that I'm going to have is going to be my quilt on my sleep system. I'm not going to need that. Then I have my game bags, and these can be put in the very bottom to kind of fill in some of those voids. And then also my sleeping pad. You're not going to need that along the trail, so I will slide that in. Now I'm going to end up with a natural void in the bottom against the frame, and that's a great place for the poles for your tent. When they're right against the frame, they can't get impacted by anything. If you drop your pack, it rolls down the hill, any of those types of things, you're not going to break your poles. So I set those, once again, I set those vertically on that back. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I have my game bag, or my load cell bag. I'm not going to need that along the trail. I'll do that as well and put that in the bottom. Then in this third compression bag, I have my down pants, I have my down jacket, both Grumman, and I also have 4 pairs of socks. So the only extra clothing that I take are extra pairs of socks, and those are gonna live in there. So I'll put those on, and I put that on the right side because I'm gonna be carrying my rifle on the right side. So having those soft goods in those compression bags will keep that scope from rattling up against, say, anything like your stove. But I don't need my stove, so I'm gonna put that in right along the back as well. Now at this point you have multiple different cylinders stacked in there, and this is when I'll start taking the food and put the food in and amongst all those voids in there to try to get best use of the volume of my pack. Depending on what type of freeze-dried meals you take, some of them are vacuum sealed, some of them are not. Often what I'll do if there's too much air in there is poke a hole in there and then just put a little piece of duct tape or Gorilla Tape over the top after you squeeze the air out, and then you can reduce the volume there. But normally you can take these, fold them down, pretty much roll those up into a ball and stick those in between as well. Now I have the basic bottom portion of this filled up. I have my 3 swing out pockets, and depending on your pack, all of our packs have different spots for your swing out pockets. And so depending on what the zipper configuration is, I like to place the swing out pockets that I'm going to use along the trail in that spot. So one of them that I like to use along trail, this has the blue, my electronics, has my inReach. If I'm not carrying it in my Bino harness, it also has my headlamp. and it has batteries if you need them. And then emergency kit, personal kit. I don't end up using that much along the trail, so you can either hang it from one of your other spots or get it into your voids. And so those will go in. And then the emergency kit I'll hang on one of the other attachment points on the inside. Same thing with the food. We're going to get that into an open spot. Now these are going to be on top, and this is my M5 rain jacket, my M5 rain pant. A lot of times this ends up being my primary outer layer, my jacket does. So even if it's warmer, you can wear it just over, if it starts to rain, you can wear it just over a base layer, or you can layer up with your Grumman down. But in this event, let's say that it's packed away. Once again, I have these rolled up and I have a piece of 1-wrap Velcro over the top. And those are gonna live on top, so you have quick access to those. You don't have to dig for them. Then my swirl, this is the ATC again. This is just a little protection, has a little bit of foam in it, kind of like a spotting scope cover that I put on there. That's going to slide on the inside right here. That's in my spotting scope pocket. Same thing with my gloves. If it starts to rain, I want to keep those on top where they're easy accessible, either through the side zipper or through the top opening. And then my sitting pad, we'll put that on here in just a second. So once I get all of that set, oh, excuse me, I forgot the one thing. So my tripod. My tripod's gonna go on the same side as my spotter. I usually put that against the frame, and the top strap I run under the top leg, and then so that it'll catch underneath the head so it cannot slip out. The bottom strap over the top. All right, and then I have everything on the left-hand side set, tighten down the bottom. Now bear in mind we are missing a bit of volume here because I've only put 2 days of food in here. So depending on how far you're going to be hiking. And once I have everything tied back in, my water system, both the empty and the one that I would have full are in the lid. So I have my hydration coming around the front, out of the top of the lid. Then my sitting pad, glassing pad, I normally run underneath here. So you can get that out quick. All right, once I have everything loaded in the pack, then I will mount the rifle on the side. As I mentioned before, this is the MDT Hunt 26 with a folding stock. And I do also always use a Stone Glacier scope cover. This NX8 takes a size medium. But the rifle goes onto the side. I mount the bottom portion that's going to catch the pistol grip in the bottom of the stock. I try to keep that above the height of the pack, so anytime I sit down, the bottom of the rifle isn't in the dirt. And then I also have the Terminus weapon sling on the side. It has the locking buckle that I can run over the top of the forearm, also with the quick detach to get it out. The hydration. I have the platypuses inside here. 2 of them are, well, all of them are empty right now, but as I'm traveling, typically you have the 2 empty ones, 1 full, and then if you have to pack water somewhere, you can use it. Hydration routed out the left-hand side through the hydration port. Now that we have everything in here, we have 2 days of food, no water. So let's get a weight on that. That'll give us a baseline. So we are at 28.6, 28.7. So we'll just call it 29. Once again, that's with only 2 days of food. So if we calculate that to 10 days of food, we're going to be at 43 pounds with no water. This rifle weighs right at 8.5 pounds. So now we're in that 51.5, 52 pounds total pack weight, which I'm pretty happy with for a 10-day hunt. If you have any questions on anything that we've gone over, our layering system, any of the gear that we're taking, our techniques on packing, please feel free to give us a call here at the shop.